Hello there. What is going on, everyone? We're talking Star Wars Legion today, and we're talking about stuff that we need more of. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the custom commanders and operatives that are coming for Star Wars Legion, and they're very exciting. And I want to open the floor to you guys and find out what you want to see more of in this style, because I honestly think this is a great thing that they're doing, and I give AMG a lot of criticism for things that I feel that they could have done better, but this is one thing I think they're doing very right. It looks very exciting, and I want to find out what you guys think, what you want to see more of in this format, because everything I've seen about these things has been overwhelming, positive, and just like this is like, it just seems like it's a resounding success of a concept and of implementation of it. And the thing is, there's even more previews yet to come, so it seems like a really solid idea, but it's got my gears turning on what will we see next, and that's what I want to talk about in today's video. If you guys are new here to the channel, we're doing a new round of that $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my other videos. It's as simple as that. Love to hear from you guys and keep the discussion going. What do you want to see more of in this style? So recently, AMG has been rolling out articles. All last week, it was just, you know, article pre-order all week long. And among those, we did see some basic pages and pre-order information for the new custom expansions. And this one looks really cool. These are basically two miniature expansions where you're going to be able to make a custom commander and or a custom operative. And you're going to be able to make two different models with these. You're going to get two different unit cards and a lot of different upgrade cards that can kind of build them out to be however you want. The Empire, for example, has officers and ISB agent type characters with lots of customization in between. The Rebels have their sort of like drop trooper looking dudes and freedom fighter kind of rebellion officer type characters. Maybe, you know, like cool looking gun on one of them, but maybe one of the lesser inspired boxes of these. The Clone Wars era is where they get really cool, because you have custom super tactical droids combined with like spider legs and all kinds of really cool stuff in there. And then with the, of course, with the Republic, you're getting custom Jedi, which I think is the coolest part of this entire kind of set of expansions. These are just a really cool option. They come with multiple heads, multiple arms, legs, torsos, you know, everything, and lots of really cool weapon options, and you know, pointing fingers if you wanted to be a commander. People always love to have their commanders pointing. I'm like, go kill him. I'm not doing it myself. You do it. Get over there and kill him for me, because I'm gonna hang back here. Or the more melee focused or range focused, you know, like a lot of cool custom options to build your own characters and make them a little bit more your own. It's a very cool idea, but I think what we've got here gives us some hints to the future, and definitely leaves some openings on things they can improve on. So I'm going to give you my breakdown for each faction on what I think we should see. I want to hear what things you think we should see, and maybe we converge, maybe we agree on some of it, maybe we disagree on some of it, and maybe you think I'm onto something, but you want to expand even further on what I have. So let's get started. So first thing, I think the Empire needs lightsaber users. I think we need more of them. We need more Force users. We lost Palpatine already, and we lost Royal Guard. We need more Inquisitors, and what could be better than a custom design your own Inquisitor box for the Empire? I mean, come on, this sells itself. It would be a mega hit, a mega hit, and you could even do lightsaber nunchucks with this one. They probably would. They probably wouldn't, but I probably would. I probably would. No, this is a fantastic, you know, concept that just writes itself. We've seen the Inquisitorius sort of opened up a lot more. And with the Inquisitors we already have, and you can do named Inquisitors. You can name your Inquisitor. You could be like the 14th sister, or you know, or something like that. You know, there may be some canonical limits to what can be allowed, but of course they don't have to put a name on the card. You can just name it as you're playing it, and you can write your own story in your game of Legion. That's kind of how a lot of these go. I think it just goes without saying this would be an amazing one. Lots of different alien heads or helmeted heads. You can have helmets open, helmets closed. There's a lot they can do with this. I don't think they'd get the Dawutin like you have in the back, the really big one, because again, the body types, usually they want the torsos and the legs to be interchangeable, but I would love it if we got some larger body types for Inquisitors also. I'm excited about all of those things. There's a lot to do here. But this also could run into problems with licensing. They may say, no, we're very firm. There were only 7 Inquisitors or something like that. I don't think that would actually be the case. We've already seen certain signs like Merrick from Ahsoka, which seems to be an unnamed other Inquisitor. It's almost like, people who've survived Order 66 and like, you're the last of the Jedi, Luke, but oh, by the way, there's like 300 other Jedi that also survived. So you're just the last one that happens to be on Dagobah, right? So like they could do the same thing with Inquisitors. So I think that'd be really cool. Speaking of the last of the Jedi, how about for the Rebels, Order 66 Survivor, right? Basically the Rebels could get a Jedi too, but in this case, it doesn't have to be a lightsaber wielder, right? That could be an option, and maybe there's a points cost if you want to give them a lightsaber. Maybe the Rebels are a whole different brand. Now, granted, I'm using all examples of like blind force affinity type people. It doesn't have to necessarily mean that you're a Jedi. You might not have passed the trials. You might have been a Padawan who's grown up, and you've lost some of that. You're not going to have Master of the Force on these types of peoples. Like your Chirrut Imways, your Guardian of the Wills type character. You could be more melee focused. You could have ranged weapons. You don't have to be blind, even though these examples I have on here are blind. It was just it's a cool picture. Or you could be somebody who becomes more expensive and more powerful and grows up to be a little bit more like Kanan Jarrus. There's a lot of different ways to do Order 66 survivors. You could be a Force healer. We saw a little bit of stuff like that in some recent media, but there's a lot of looser, not strictly Jedi type focuses that the Rebels could have that still have a Force affiliation, and you can kind of choose how much they've grown apart from the Force or how much they're going to actually leverage the Force. Maybe they're angry at the Jedi Order and they've kind of given up on it. Maybe they view it as a failure, and it's a redemption story, and they're slowly finding their way back. Kind of like a Baze Malbus sort of thing, or maybe it's something altogether different. I feel like there's a lot of options here. You could do a couple of lightsabers. You could do 1 or 2 lightsaber options, but they wouldn't all have to be lightsabers. It could be a little bit more of a martial melee weapon focus. And so this would be a great opportunity for nunchucks as well. Because why not? Because I like nunchucks, but realistically, probably not. But I think there's a lot of options in here, especially like the idea of a Force healer that could be staying in the back as a commander, maybe healing people who are also in the back without throwing themselves into the front line. Maybe somebody who's got a little bit of PTSD and they're kind of trying to take cover, but at the last moment finding the courage to rejoin the fight or something like that. It sounds more like maybe an operative, but could be a reluctant commander who's like, I was done with this fight. I don't want to fight anymore. Like there's a whole story that goes into that. And when you're making your own character in Star Wars Legion, aren't you sort of writing your own story? I think it could work. I think it could be really cool. Love to hear what you think. Moving on. Separatists. Look, we don't have Night Sisters yet, but I feel like it's only a matter of time. I'd love to see like a precursor to that being a design your own Night Sister or design your own Night Brother. Basically a custom Dathomirian expansion. You can get a couple of Night Brother options, a couple of Night Sister options, maybe give them a bow and arrow, maybe give them an axe or one of these like triple pikes or something like that. You could give a sword, or you could just do like a magic weapon. Like they could use the Force, they might not use the Force. The Separatists are kind of one of those places that do have a lot of Force or magic available to them, but you don't always see it featured on a wide variety of characters. And when they go to Dathomir, you do have a lot more opportunities to see magic, and this could also help fill out a potential Dathomirian battle force at some point, because I think a lot of people have expressed interest in wanting to see Night Sisters in Star Wars Legion. There's a lot you could do there between like undead Night Sisters, archers, melee, force users, Mother Talzin. Also bring Asajj Ventress into the fold, bring Maul, and also, you know, again, there's a lot. We already kind of expect Savage Opress to show up at some point too, so it could really be a fun opportunity to bring a lot of people into this. Also, it'd be kind of cool if the same miniatures had an option to kind of stand in and be a leader for like a core unit or something like that, how they kind of did with Ahsoka. There's a lot of opportunity with Night Sisters and Night Brothers, and being able to build your own could be a really cool thing. Love to see what they come up with. Lastly, for the Republic, it's a little harder to jump into the Republic here because they got the, in my opinion, the coolest one of all with the custom Jedi. So it's like, what do we do? And I know some of you are thinking, build your own Gungan. Of course, I'm going to mention Gungans. Somebody said recently, like, you mentioned Gungans in every single video. You doggone right I do. Misa, want to mention some Gungans today? But no, that's not my suggestion, even though it's a good one. So if you were thinking about it, hit this right here. Yes. All right. So, but no, I went going in a different direction for the Republic, and it's actually custom Wookiees. There's a lot of different options you can go with. They kind of already have a lot of clone options, so I'm not going to go in that direction because, frankly, they're all clones of the same, you know, same head on everybody. So it doesn't really work as well for me there. There's different things you could do, but I like custom Wookiees, and of course, this one could have worked for the Rebels also, but since the Republic has the Wookiee Battle Force, a custom Wookiee works a little bit better in the Republic in this case. Of course, things change and Battle Force gets opened up to like Rebels at some point to also use Wookiees. You could always, again, you can change your force organization charts pretty easily down the road since a lot of that stuff is all PDF based. But for right now, leaning towards the Republic for custom Wookiees. Look, and look in this picture. You got so many different styles of Wookiee that aren't represented in the Wookiee expansions that we have already. All the Wookiees kind of have that Chewbacca face, but you've got wide faces, you've got heavy faces, you've got long faces. Look at the Wookiee that was in Solo, a Star Wars story, longer, skinnier Wookiee, right? Like there's a lot of different Wookiee options that they could go into that they don't do as much. They did a little bit in the reprints of the Wookiees where they gave some Wookiees dreadlocks, which was kind of cool. I like that. I like that energy. I like that vibe. Let's keep working with that. Wookiees are of a very diverse hairstyle patterns and stuff like that. You could do a lot of that. You could do different weapons. Do ranged Wookiee, a melee Wookiee, big two-handed Wookiee. You could do Wookiee nunchucks. It totally works. I think Wookiees, I bet you there's at least like 5 Wookiees on Kashyyyk that are proficient in nunchucks. It just makes sense. And Wookiees need a little more love anyway. It'd be great to be able to fill out that battle force and give them like a Wookiee turret, which was like just off screen at the Battle of Kashyyyk. There's a lot of other things that definitely fit into a battle force like that. But a custom Wookiee would be cool. It also does potentially open the door for a Wookiee Jedi. You could also throw a lightsaber in there if you wanted to make that be an option. That might have to then also be a dual faction one that might work with the Rebellion also. A Wookiee Jedi for the Rebels would be really cool. Maybe officially it doesn't work, but maybe you just sub in the model for your custom Rebel or whatever. Again, a Wookiee Jedi would be really cool. Of course, you can homebrew that stuff, and you can just like get a 3D printed one or something like that, and that's fine too. But I feel like if AMG doesn't give us a Wookiee Jedi at some point, they're kind of missing into a cash cow, because I would love to have a whole army of Wookiee Jedi. Just saying, that would be really cool. It'd be really fun. I'd be having to like proxy stuff out like crazy, but could you imagine a whole bunch of Wookiees with lightsabers all charging? I mean, it's instant death. And it would look really cool too. But that's my thoughts on some things that we should be getting if they follow this model of the custom kind of Build-A-Bear workshop for your Star Wars Legion heroes. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. I will talk to you later. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I've been doing this for a long time, and you guys are always so awesome in the comments. You can jump in our Discord and keep everything going there as well. There's a lot of fun stuff. I thank you guys for hanging out with me. It's been an awesome ride, and it's not over anytime soon. So let's go ahead and wrap up the video. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are amazing and help make this whole channel possible. Thank you so much for your continued support. I will talk to you later. May the force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. So say we all, and always wash your socks.